Tonight's tactical enhancement is some more of the Johnny Walker, because life is short. Tonight we're playing Victory at Sea. It's been a while. It's been even longer since I took the Americans out, so I thought I'd give them a bash once more against Emilio's Italian Navy. And we're playing a breakout versus defense line. The Americans are having to do a breakout, which means I've got to get at least 50% of my ships over the other side of the table. And Emilio's doing the defense line, so he has to stop me. And then who gets the most points comes into play as well. For my fleet, I've got 2 cruisers that I put in reconnaissance. I got quite a lot more reconnaissance dice than Emilio did, but unfortunately it didn't make a difference on the table in the end, because I didn't put my carrier into deep reserve, or whatever the hell it's called. So they'll come in at a random turn in a random table edge. In the meantime, I have 2 of the New Mexico class battleships, including New Mexico herself, with a destroyer. We have carrier, the Essex, with its cap of 2, and I had some spare points. Instead of throwing in an extra destroyer, I threw in an extra 3 fighter planes. That seems to make a big difference in these games. These are Hellcats. I've got some Helldivers as well. And then we've got another destroyer that I put over there in the hope that I would convince Emilio that maybe I was going down the other edge of the table. That didn't work out so well, so God knows what's going to happen to this guy. Now, Emilio, talk us through what you got.
Yep, so it's 1,500 points both sides. I'm the defender, I'm holding the line, and my job is to sink 4 of your fleet out of 7 total in your fleet. So over this side here we've got the Aquila class defence carrier. It's been upgraded to include an additional 4 planes, so it's gone from 12 to 16 with folded wings. And then we've got the 3 very fast Navigatori class destroyers.
That's excellent value for money.
These have also been slightly upgraded, so I can increase my torpedo attack dice.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to upgrade them that way, so the torpedo dice are a little bit better. And then my 2 battleships, which are the best battleships I've got, these are 550 points each, 90 hull points. And these particular ships, I decided not to spend money on any upgrades for those.
They don't need it, do they? Alright, we both got the +1 initiatives. I had the option to put my carrier in deep battle. That's the term I was looking for. I didn't. It's probably not very useful in this game. So there's a delay in getting your planes about a turn while they're en route. So I think really we're just at a point of time to get going. We've been rereading the rules and remembering some things, and we've been doing some stuff wrong. We'll try to remember to do it right this game. And let's go, initiative.
6.
Alright, well, you have the initiative. That means I've got to get moving. We'll check in probably at the end of turn 1. Turn 1 was characteristically uneventful. I reread the rules and realised you can actually pump out more smoke than I thought you could. So we're using a lot of smoke to screen the battleships while they try to get within range. Meanwhile, that thing with his insanely long range took 6 points off of this, and a critical on the engines. This is what you get for not protecting your carriers, frankly. Otherwise, I got 1 plane up. I brought up a Helldiver.
I've got 2 planes up.
Yeah, so they are forming up over there. So Emilio is swamping the area with fighters, and we'll. That's it for turn 1, really. I think we should just move into turn 2. Yeah. Okay, end of turn 2. It's been a weird one. I got initiative. I also rolled at the end of last turn to see if my cruisers were coming in, and they both came back in. 6. One came in on the back line. I'll put him over there, way out of harm's way, so he can run up a flank and hopefully make a clean escape. I did think about putting him in the line, but I figured his odds were poor. I also thought I would chance putting the other one, as it came in from this edge, and put it all the way back there, to see if I could sneak in past the first battleship or two, and maybe even have a run for the carrier. Or alternatively, he would just nick off the back flank next turn. And I thought, well, there's an outside possibility that Emilio might just blow it out of the water. But if he does that, then he's not shooting at my battleships with one of his battleships. Then everything got a little bit ridiculous. Firstly, I've only managed to cough up one plane each turn, even though I'm trying to get orders up to scramble on my carrier.
And that's a 4+ to get a plane.
That's a 4+. Now the Italians have 5+ on their command rolls instead of 4+, and he's managed to cough up 2 planes twice in a row.
Yeah, 2
That's
bombers
annoying.
arrived.
Yeah, so I keep stacking the odds in my favour and then they don't work. I couldn't figure out how to get my destroyer to run a proper smoke screen, so he's just set up for next turn. What I did do is get both of these bad boys in position to shoot at that guy, and one of them even got within short range. So Emilio was trying to keep out of short range, but somewhere along the line somebody didn't measure something or whatever happened. Now, okay. So the first one of these dumped a 12-shot volley at this guy. Hit was less than half, even though I needed 3s. But I rolled up my criticals. One of them was a 10. I got Emilio to roll on the critical chart. He rolled a 6 and it blew up. And I thought, fucking hell, it's turn 2 of the game. That's just absurd. Reroll. So he rolls the d6 again and gets another 6 and it blows up. So I thought, no, we've got to get something else. Reroll the 6s. And Emilio said, all right, I'll roll again, but if it's a 5, then it counterfires the 6s as the same. So he rolls the dice and it's a fucking 5. So it blows up. And that's what we thought. No, it'll ruin the night. So we just counted it as a 5. So it's the 46 points worth of damage, and naturally I rolled a bunch of fucking 1s and 2s.
So I'm at 59 hull points, and I start off at 90.
Yeah, but the good news is, in addition to the 46 hull points, it adds 1 to the critical score on all 3 of the main areas.
Yeah. So -3 on engines, -3 on weapons, and -3 on crew, and I've got a fire.
That's right. So, and as you know in this game, once you get up to around 3 or 4 on the chart, that's when all the cascading effects happen and it starts to root your ships. So, let's see. That guy fired back, did a little bit of damage to the New Mexico, nothing too serious. This ship here dumped another volley on this guy, it rolled crap again, but the criticals started to tally up. See, Emilio rolled really well. I just been rolling crap today.
I rolled well with 6 guns because my turrets at the front didn't work.
That's right, because of the criticals. It's one of those things where I've been rolling absolutely terribly on everything except for... well, actually, even then, Emilio's the guy that's been rolling the fucking 6s to blow up his own ship.
I'm rolling well to blow myself up, and I'm rolling well to hit you.
If you've been following this channel, you know that Emilio is the Yahtzee king, and apparently he does it to himself as well.
I do.
So, yeah. Anyway, so over here, Emilio decided that his mission is to blow up my ships, not necessarily to win a slugging match. So he dumped every single thing that he could onto that...
Cruiser.
Yeah, the cruiser, the Chester, is Northampton class. Started at 23 hull points. It now has 1. It's not a happy camper. A little bit of critical damage, not much. Mostly it's just hull points. If I win initiative next turn, it'll survive. If I don't, I think Emilio's going to polish it off. But yeah, so that was the turn basically, and the destroyers are getting in position to make an instance of themselves, and we're forming our plans up to have the secondary game within a game as it usually works. So that's it.
Wowzer of a turn.
Oh my lordy my, that was absurd. Anyway, let's see what wacky shit we can do in turn 3. I can't believe it's only turn 3 given the amount of fucking carnage. Maybe it's turn 4, I don't even know. Whatever turn it is, here's what happened. This chap here moved up to try and get angles on my ships here, but I managed to put my smoke in the right place. He used his aft guns and totally missed this ship. This ship couldn't quite get off the table this turn, so Emilio got to shoot at him. He missed all 3 of his main guns, the 1s and 2s all round. That was great. He fired his light guns rolled shit again, and one of them hit, and then he rolled a 1 to actually damage it. So this ship is sitting on a grand total of 1 hull point, and he's going to get away unless the escalate happens. We haven't rolled for that. Let's roll for the escalate. Alright, we'll roll for damage control first. Oh fuck, you got his damage control to work. I'm assuming you can still damage control as standard when you're crippled.
Sure.
I might roll for escalate and see if we've got to look this up. That's rather decisive, isn't it? Let's see if we... Let's pause a moment and then see if I could have repaired that. Okay, we have just checked the rulebook, and you can do normal damage when you're crippled. I think there's some restriction probably to using orders, but anyway, what that does mean is that fella managed to stop his escalate from escalating, and he's still afloat on 1 hull point. It's a miracle. The amount of fire that got pumped at it in that last turn, it should have got him. Conversely, Emilio shot at these chaps with his battleship, did a chunk of damage, a couple of criticals, a dozen points. We then fired both of these back at that tuft of cotton wool over there. That fucking ship has survived so much, and it has been so determined to die all game.
It was the last critical dice that determined the escalation.
Oh yeah, and you know, while we didn't count it as being blown up too early in the game, the fact that it had that extra 1 level of critical basically pushed its demise ahead about one game turn effectively. And we have been pumping 24 barrels into the fucking thing every
at
turn.
Short range that last turn. So. Yeah,
it's like 2 turns worth of the things blasting away at short range. Because these 400-point ships, their accuracy's crap, their range bands are crap. But at the end of the day, 12 barrels is 12
at
barrels.
Short range.
And once you drive into the thick of it...
And you hit a ship on its flank.
Yep, because you're trying to get the maximum rounds in.
You're getting more dice.
Yeah, and look, Emilio was trying to do the right thing in staying at my long range while he was getting me in short range. Didn't quite work out. But, you know, at the end of the day, I threw a fuck ton of dice at him. And I didn't even get luck either. I was rolling probably about 40% instead of 50%, if you know what I mean.
There were so many dice that he just got me with 1,000 cuts.
That's right. As for the other stuff that really matters, I threw in a couple of flights of bombers. He shot one out of the sky on the way in.
Yeah, and you took 1 destroyer out.
Yeah, and one of them got a direct hit and blew up a destroyer, because these are the American dive bombers. They are fucking lethal. They used to take out carriers, and I used to pick off 35-point destroyers. Conversely, over here, Emilio got his bombers in. I can't really do much. They're tough, right? So I need him twice, and I've only got 1 AA dice to deal with, so there's no defense against him. 1 missed, the other hit. He rolled up 3 6s because Emilio is the artsy king, and sank a destroyer.
Which was going at full steam ahead. Didn't even think he was unsafe.
He was doing fucking loop-de-loops to drop that shit on him. And then over here, I became the artsy king for a moment, and I rolled up so many fucking 6s in this dogfight.
I outnumbered you 6-5, and in the end, I've got two fighters left.
Yeah. We had 1 tie. We had one over here where there were 2 under 1, and I killed one. But I was rolling 6s with a +1, so there's no way Emilio could even beat them. It was just crazy luck.
Yeah.
Normally Emilio wins the air war. Anyway, so that's that. We're now going into what I think is turn 4. I'm not entirely sure. I need another drink. We'll check in at the end of this mayhem. End of turn 4, we think. I have measured at some point. Basically, these guys are moving at 4 inches a turn. It's very, very slow. Okay, well, we got a couple more bombers out, which is useful. This chap is keep chugging along at 6 inches a turn. We finished up the fighter melee, and Emilio continued rolling crap, and I continued rolling better than I deserved. I think the Italians got 1 more plane up there. Those are all bombers over there, aren't they?
Yes.
Right, now, we both sent in bombers against destroyers over here, and we both shot our destroyers out with other light guns before our ships had to go. Before our fighters had to... Fighters? Bombers, God. So I'm 3 or 4 drinks into the evening, and it's late. Now, you will note there's not that many destroyers there. In fact, I think I probably should put another tuft of smoke down. So it's been an interesting game. Emilio got in close with his battleships because he knew I was going to use smoke to try and screen my way up. That wasn't a bad idea. My smoke use was sometimes good, sometimes shit. But it has resulted in my battleships getting in close. Now, the main advantage that Emilio's battleships had was twofold. One is he's got longer range and better range bands, so he's hitting me more than I'm hitting him at long range, barrel for barrel. The other is he's got more hull points. The flip side is, once you get in close, those range bands don't matter anymore,
and I've got more dice.
I've just got a lot of dice. And I've been rolling pretty average to mediocre, but the exchange over enough dice rolls, it just levels out. Now, so we've been bruising each other's ships. My New Mexico, the actual New Mexico itself, that one is only 6 points off crippled. I'm going to have to start blowing smoke and just hoping the hell it survives somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Emilio's fired all of the torpedoes out of his destroyers. One missed completely, but it was already crippled, so it had less shots. The other one got one in. No, I actually got 2 hits, but the torpedo belt worked, and he didn't confirm the critical, so I got lucky there. Otherwise, that New Mexico could have been in all sorts of dire straits. So, yeah, and the sister ship to the New Mexico, which is the Idaho, that's that one there, is actually untouched. She's doing very well indeed. But I've got to get 3 more ships off the table. The Idaho is pretty much guaranteed unless, I don't know, we roll up some terrible Yahtzee.
Yeah. The Littorio battleship also has 54 hull points left and -2 to crew, -1 to engine, -1 to weapons AA.
Yeah, she's suffering.
So she's still not too bad.
Yeah, she's losing, but she's still in the game, well and truly in the game. So I've got one ship over there which is guaranteed to get away. Emilio's bombers are not taking that thing out. I'll hopefully deal with that destroyer shortly because there's no more fighter cover for the Italians. But I've got to get both these ships off.
And you're going to have to win initiative.
That'll certainly help, and I'm going to have to get clever with smoke. So Emilio can still do enough damage that I lose my major victory option, and then I'm just reduced to trying to smash him with victory points. Which I can do. I've got enough to clean up the rest of his fleet, but there's not much. There's still only a minor victory if I don't get my ships off the table. So that's the state of play. Let's roll some initiative and see who gets to go first. 3.
10.
Oh, Emilio's going first. Well, that'll cause me a bit of conniption. We'll check in at the end of turn 5, I think it is. Rightio, end of turn 5, and Emilio has pointed out that it's physically impossible to actually get off the end of the table using these fleets, because these guys only move 4 inches a turn.
Yeah.
That said, what else happened? Well, that guy kept moving very quickly. He'll get off the table. Emilio threw 2 bombers at the ships, and my flock of 6 dicing fighters just cleaned up the lot. I did dump some rounds at long range on that carrier from New Mexico. Then the Idaho was just a little bit further away and needed extreme range, so needed 6s and didn't hit at all. But Emilio's used his capital ship to blast at my carrier, and he just took a huge chunk of stuff off of it. My carrier crippled that destroyer there. Actually did pretty well. This carriers have a lot of light guns. And I sent in my 3 available Hell Divers. He shot down 1, and the other 2 hit. Didn't do any criticals actually. We rolled only 1/6, and that one wasn't even confirmed. But we did do a chunk of points off of that thing. So we're slowly eating the Littorio class battleship. But at the moment, I'm not really trying to destroy his fleet outright, although it probably would be a smarter thing to do at this point, because I can't get these guys off. It is physically impossible to get these guys off the table in one game of 8 turns. So it might be more of a case where I just get to a point where he physically can't stop me, and then we argue about whether that counts as a victory or not.
Well, there's no major victory anymore.
Well,
yeah, you haven't got your fleet off, you haven't met your objective.
Technically, but you're not stopped. They'll be along in their own good time.
Objective has not been met, which means it could actually be a light victory for me.
We will see. But anyway, in the meantime, I think it's time to get on with the next turn, and we'll play it out and see how we go. Okay, so we've got a couple of odds and ends we've still got to do, like around ship repairs. But the big news is that Battleship 8, the Essex, alive. It is boned, gone, not launching any more planes.
21 hull points just in my big guns alone.
Yeah.
There were 2 criticals that got through.
And whatever else we threw at it.
And then I didn't even use my light guns.
Blasting chunks off, and it actually just got onto 0 points at the end, although you didn't use your light guns. But it's on fire. It's burning down to the waterline, so I've made it look pretty on the tabletop. As for other action, that ship continues on its merry way. I couldn't get line of sight on the Emilio's Caribbean because we've got some lovely tropical islands in the way. But we're blasting smoke out the back end. And I've got massive air cover there. I've just been eating his bombers. So he's not going to be able to hit me with bombers. So these ships are basically, there's nothing he can do about them at this point in the game.
No.
But, you know, I mean, while I've been having a lovely time in the skies, it's a close run battle. Emilio's killed 3 ships out of my 7.
And you've got no bombers left, so...
Well, I have 3, but they're not going to do a lot.
No.
Yeah, they're not going to achieve a lot. Alright, so on that note, I think we should...
do a repair?
Yeah, let's try and do a couple of repairs.
No.
And we'll try and fix, I think, the weaponry or something's not right on New Mexico, and it's still not right. Alright, well, on that note, we'll play another round or 2 and see how we go. Okay, we've just played out another turn, and we've decided to call it. Exciting things that happened. Well, my cruiser over there is off the table. So it's 2 cruisers that successfully withdrew. Emilio got more planes in the air. We've been playing a bit. We're going to have a closer look at how you point into the wind, but I've been running at a bit of an angle to it, copying up planes, so that's okay. My fighters continued to be absolute bastards in the skies and cleaned up what was left. Emilio put 2 new fighters up. I figured I'd deal with them later. I don't want to go in piecemeal. I want to swamp what he's got. He's using the island effectively to shield his carrier, so that's all good. But we've been using the island and smoke effectively to shield our battleships as they continue chugging away at a grand total of 4 inches a turn. More on that in a moment. Now, I had 3 bomber stands left. I waited a turn and then dropped them all in at once on the battleship and did just enough, inclusive of 1 critical, which did 1 bonus point of damage to just tip that thing into crippled. So I get some points for that, about 50% points. I don't have any means of destroying it without just turning my battleships around and just shooting at it, which is not really in the spirit of the game.
Now I actually have long range, so there's a chance I could actually hit Chris, but Chris won't be able to hit me.
Yeah, I would have had to have circled around instead of going for my main objective.
Yeah.
Now this presents us with a conundrum. I've lost 3 ships, 2 destroyers, which are cheap and cheerful, and a very nice aircraft carrier, thank you very much, which somebody's going to be upset about. But I've got 4 ships, 2 of them off the table, and 2 of them there's no right of reply. There are no bombers left. The destroyer has expended its torpedoes and it's crippled anyway. And this bad boy is crippled, it's going nowhere fast, and half of its weaponry isn't working. It's got no way of catching up, no way of stopping me.
I've got 2 bombers left.
Oh, you got 2 bombers left?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
plus 2 fighters.
Plus 2 fighters. Well, yeah. Look, there's no way they're beating that shit show of what the hell are they?
You destroy them.
Hellcats. Yeah, those Hellcats are horrific.
Yeah.
But we generally play this game circa 1943 because it's not too far in and it's not too early. So torpedoes are still shit for the Americans. We don't have as much radar flapping around, but they're still plenty dangerous. The issue we've got, right, is I'm ahead on points. But it is literally impossible in 8 turns to get these ships
The battleships can't make
at 4 inches a turn from one side of the table to the other.
Hang on, but you only need a majority of ships to make it. You only needed 4 ships to make it.
Yes, but the other ships were going to get eaten alive if they got anywhere near you.
So when we started the game, the objective was achievable, but only if
Are we playing,
you held back your battleships and you let the others run.
But they would have just been destroyed.
Yeah, that's only a small technicality.
So we're going to be arguing for a very long time now as to whether this counts as a victory, because there's literally no way of stopping them.
I have to say the objective is legitimate.
Here we go.
Because you could get 4 ships from the beginning of the game, you could get 4 ships over the line. So the objective actually stands. Now, did you make your objective?
Here we go. I'm going to say that, it's actually worth knowing. We actually started with a 1,500 point game.
Yeah.
And then we should have lost 10 points off of that. We should have lost 150 points off of it, which we didn't take out. And that would have been on both sides. I'm not sure if that would have made much difference. Actually, no, it would have made a huge difference.
I think we said at the beginning we would go 1,650, take it off to 1,500. I think that's what we agreed before we started.
That's what we decided to do, because what we didn't do was pick our missions and then our fleets. We picked our fleets and then we rolled for missions, as you might do at a tournament.
That's pretty random. Yes, I like that, randomness.
So we basically got put in a situation where, aside from the occasional legal technicality that would have you working for ASIC, it's impossible for me to actually complete the mission. What I did instead, though, was blast the living shite out of his fleet and his airplanes.
But that's not your objective. Your objective was to get 4 of your fastest ships
at this point. I think I'm going to call it a minor victory.
See, I'd say to the viewing audience, did you reach your objective?
Here we go.
No, you did not. Could you have done it? Well, technically, you had ships that could make it in 8 turns over here. Now, yes, they would have got blown to bits because I've got long-range firepower. But the reality is, yes, you started the game. It was actually achievable to make your objective.
So this is naval strategy by a policy writer. What I'm going to suggest is the Admiralty will be a lot happier that I got 2 battleships and 2 cruisers through than throwing the entire fleet away and having nothing get to the objective at all.
But if you look at it this way, what's the mission? The mission is to get 4 of your ships over the line in 8 turns. Now, you didn't meet your mission, so it's a mission fail. So if it's a mission fail, you didn't get a major victory and you didn't get a minor victory. Now, on the other side, now for the Italians, they actually, yes, you destroyed more of my ships, but that doesn't matter because that's not my mission.
Well, don't tell that. Don't put that in the letters to the sailors' families.
My mission is to have a defence line. It doesn't matter, even if I'm down to 1 ship. As long as I stop 4 of your ships from making over the line, I've actually achieved my mission. So Chris didn't achieve his mission, but Emilio did achieve his mission. So that's actually a minor victory for me.
All right. Well, feel free to join in this conversation in the comments section. I certainly have my opinion.
But to be fair to Chris, I did actually lose a battleship at the beginning of the game, and Chris let me re-roll, and I failed, and then he let me re-roll, and I failed, and he let me re-roll, and I failed. So we could have said at the very beginning of the game, we've just lost one of my best battleships. I still had 1 battleship left. So he may actually have achieved his objective, because would 1 battleship be enough to destroy...
Well, no, we saw what I did with my gunnery.
4 of your ships at least, or could you've got 4 over the line with only 1 heavy hitter in my fleet?
Well, I could have actually, because the way I would have done it is to bring my carrier up immediately, and as we saw with the cruiser, they can get across the table even 1 turn later.
You would have played the game very differently. Yeah, you would have played the game very differently.
So there would have been these 2 things blasting 1 ship and doing nothing else for a few turns, while the carrier streamed up and just threw the same batch of fighters. Yeah. So I didn't actually launch any more fighters, and that just would have cleaned up Emilio's air force.
I've played this mission before, and I made the same mistake that Chris made, which was I was too excited to have the battle and forgot about the mission, and so I actually had ships fighting when they should have actually been coming off the table.
Yep.
So I said to Chris at the beginning, shouldn't you be running these ships as fast as you can? And Chris was going, no, I just want to throw dice. So,
well, there is that. It made for a much more interesting game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the only way I was going to win this game actually was by getting one of the 550-point battleships off the table right in turn one by some staggeringly catastrophic luck on Emilio's part, which would have ruined the night. As it is, we had a fucking good game.
Yeah, we did have a good game. I always wanted to take out an aircraft carrier. I think this is the first time we've had a sea fleet battle where I've actually taken out an aircraft carrier.
Because I always have an escorting destroyer hooning around blowing smoke. Yeah, so that was a interesting experience. It was amazing how quickly that thing folded once some big guns pointed at it.
And all I needed was to get a minor victory was to take out one more ship. No, that would have been a major victory.
That would have been a major victory.
Take one more ship. But the way this game was playing, there's no way, unless my aircraft carrier, which had 48 hull points left, if he let loose with his light guns,
they can't get through and do anything.
But they can't get through a battleship.
And they're probably weak, so they wouldn't do anything.
I don't think this would have just... You would have got to turn 8, they wouldn't have made it.
Yep.
And we would be back where we were. But we had fun.
We did have fun. And it is a game where, okay, you can try and play it for tournament style. If you're going to go to a tournament, you don't take very, very slow ships because you might get one of these missions. If I swapped out those two guys for the big battleship, the Missouri or whatever the hell it is, would have been a different game.
How fast does that go?
6 or 7. But the carrier would have been lagging a bit. I would have had 6 ships, so I would have had to get 3 off.
The battleship would have made it to this side.
And we know that Missouri is a motherfucker. He's got heavy guns, so they do cripples on a 5 or 6, and we've seen what that does to anything. So yeah, I think if you're going to do a tournament, take a fast battleship, not 2 old battle wagons, which I hadn't taken them in so long, and I love those things. I just love what they do if you let them get near enough to do it.
And for me, I think the Italians should not have gone front on to get at point blank range with this fleet against the American fleet. I should have just stayed further back. I could have sunk that cruiser easily if I stayed back. And then I'd only have 1 ship left to take, and I could have split my forces, so there could have been a battleship over here that could have done a bit more damage.
Yeah, smoke can only do so much.
I could have actually won.
Yes, you could have. The thing you needed to do was get your battleships a long way away and at 2 very different angles. And because I tried to split your fleet by sticking stuff on the far end flank, that meant I didn't have enough smoke to cover my guys. So every second turn you would have been blasting me with 2 battleships. And in the alternate turn you might have been getting me with 1. That would have... could have swung the game.
So we definitely have made tactical errors in this game.
I think we're both making our excuses to our admirals. It's like, yes, absolutely, I'll be there by 0600 hours. Of course, the battleships won't be there till midday because they don't move that fast, but we'll definitely be there by 0600 hours to save the port or whatever the hell we're trying to do.
And how many planes did you have left on that carrier when it went down?
Quite a lot. I didn't launch any more fighters, so I had another 7. And I had another 5 bombers, I think.
So there's another... So if we played another 2 turns, you would have got out at least another 2 to 4 planes.
I think I had 2 bombers left on the ship.
So that could have made a difference. Maybe that could have been enough to sink my battleship.
Well, the ship was already crippled. I probably would have used some to take out the destroyer, just to make sure that's gone. Although, I mean, anything will kill the destroyer at this point. But I'll have to look at the rules at some point, because I think fighters can drop damage on things as well, but they're not very good at it. But I'm not sure if that's all fighters. But I tell you what, I do love the Helldivers and I do love the Hellcats. They're a very good reason to take Americans.
And I love the Italian fleet, but the Italian aircraft carrier can only take 12 planes, and you can upgrade it to go to 16 planes, which is still a lot less than the American carrier. So
that's true.
And the planes are inferior compared to the American planes. So against that fleet, you actually trump me. When it comes to aircraft carrier, you've got superiority.
Look, that is an interesting one, and is such a rock paper scissors game with carriers, because that carrier against, say, the British fleet is a lot more dangerous. Against the Japanese, it's pretty good.
It's just not good enough against the Americans on its own.
Yeah, and it's mainly the Helldivers that do the damage. Because your bombers are tough. Right, if you, and because the other thing, of course, is you can deploy your planes in the air at the start of the game if you're prepared to pay extra points. And we've done this sort of thing in the past, and it's, if you do that and I don't, for whatever reason, particularly against, say, the Japanese, then you can be taking out my extremely expensive torpedo carrying destroyers. Against me today, you probably would have benefited from throwing just all your fighters up, just so I couldn't get any bombers out. So I would have had to been too busy taking out your fighters. Because my bombers are shit in a dogfight, so they desperately need that fighter cover. Whereas your bombers can actually do better than some fighters in a dogfight. So it's a real interesting rock paper scissors. But yeah, today it didn't help your cause that I just.
Well, I took out a destroyer over there.
Well, no.
With bombers.
Well, you did fine. It's just that I just rolled a lot of sixes. I mean, normally you're the one doing the Yahtzee mayhem. I don't know who the fuck was flying my planes today, but
no, you definitely won in the air today. Definitely won in the air.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know who won or lost technically, and in some regards, I don't care. It was a fuckload of fun.
Yeah, it's a great game.
All right. Well, on that note, feel free to hit like, subscribe, etc. Make a comment. Tell us what you think of this mission combo or fleet designs and so on. We'll try and get some more games of this in. We've been neglecting this game a bit lately because, real life has been getting in the way rather a bit lately. But today the whiskey flowed freely and so did the dice. So on that note, I think it's time to call it a night.